Thank you, Catherine. As Catherine indicated, our first presenter for Kitchener-Wilmot Hydro, and today we have three presenters from that organization. George Mino, who's the Manager of Health, Safety and Wellness, Mike Livingston, as a power line technician, and Tim Bayer, power line technician. And Tim, if I got your name wrong, I apologize on that one. So if you are ready to go, please give them a warm welcome.
So this is hot off the presses. That's why it had to be delivered. It got finished yesterday about 7:29 p.m. And we just decided who's presenting what about 20 minutes ago. So if we do a funny shuffle up here, it's not a new fad. So Kitchener-Wilmot Hydro is a small utility, medium-sized utility. We have about 175, peaking to a little over 180 employees in the summer with summer help. We have about over 90,000 customers in our area, and one of our principles, which we also stole from somebody else, a colleague of mine from General Electric, GE, steal with pride. Take something, make it your own. Plagiarism is a different matter, but learning from each other is a good thing. In fact, the logo, the little stick man, we stole from another company, and the safety person left, came back, went to a new company and asked for us to pass it along. So in the summer of 2005, we partnered with the Institute for Work and Health out of the University of Waterloo and the Infrastructure Health and Safety Association to create a ergonomics change team, participatory ergonomics. We were approached by them, and we chose, on their advice, they actually had recommendations on who should be in the team. So, of course, they wanted tradespeople, people that are actually doing the work. So we had one PLT at the time. You may know that under a different term as a power lineman. They're now currently called power line technicians. We had a protection and control technician. We had two members of senior staff, a crew foreman, a collections worker, so that's the person who had to come to your door and collect money or shut you off. Two office employees, an engineering supervisor, and an employee from the purchasing department. And so the purchasing department, the senior staff, and the field staff were all recommendations from the from IHSA and the Institute for Work and Health. So we strive to make have as much diversity on the team as we can in order to have all disciplines of the company represented, different perspectives, and different people to do the work, because it's not me doing the work. New members, we continue to have new members. They're all volunteers. Everybody who comes on the team is a volunteer. Nobody's voluntold, which is a big issue, to have people on there that want to be there. And our newest member is our communications person to help get our message out. So we were trained by IHSA. They provided us with 3 days of training. The last day was actually our first meeting. So they actually, part of the training actually set up to include, to get us started and talk about what we would do. We had just had information on the nature of soft tissue injuries, how to fit work to the worker, how to get the most bang for a buck, which is something that we use all the time. Obviously, new equipment is a key issue, is when you're buying new, make sure you're buying the right new, make sure you're customizing it to your benefit. Office chairs, parameters for purchasing, desk setup, tool design basics. We've done a lot since then, and truck design basics. So, as I mentioned, we had time to set up, and we started our terms of reference. We modeled it after our Joint Health and Safety Committee. We already had a well-established Joint Health and Safety Committee, but one of the parameters we had is we wanted to have a lot more fun with this group. We're joking around, we're enjoying coming to the meetings. It's much less restrictive, much less formality than the Joint Health and Safety Committee, because it's not legislated. It's above and beyond. So in 2008, we had 40% representation from the field and 60% from the office. And currently we have 55% from the field and 45% from the office. Some of them are jointly represented. So here today, we've already been introduced. And Mike.
An example of one of the changes our ECT has made is purchasing of trailers and bins with lids for material. The reason we purchase trailers is pickup trucks are getting higher and higher every year. It's getting harder to reach over the side of the truck boxes to get material. The trailers are a good height to reach material. The slide describes the process we use to obtain bolt and material bins.
So the main reasons for us creating and listening to the advice of our Safety Association were, number one, it was suggested by them, and we listen to them, we heed them. We use them for a lot of customized training for our electrical work. We work in a dangerous industry. The Joint Health and Safety Committee was concerned with life-threatening safety more than ergonomics. So we would have an ergonomic issue come up, but it was always a lower priority for that group. So the third one there is, however, ironically, or not ironically, rightfully, the largest cost and the largest number of injuries we had were musculoskeletal. So our committee was doing a great job with those life-threatening issues. Our company was doing a great job with the life-threatening issues, but our biggest costs were not being addressed. So the idea of setting up a committee that was their mandate was a good fit. A lot of the initiatives that we do, unlike safety, we try to do proactive things. We do audits to try to fix programs and that sort of thing. But when it comes to a lot of it is accident investigation, items that come out of that, reports from people that are having trouble. With ergonomics, so you see a fair number of initiatives, I'd say in about the 40% range, that are completely proactive. We're going out to the employees, talking to them, asking about the issues, doing broad surveys, broad looks at what they're doing before somebody's being hurt. We do have some some incidents that have occurred and come to us, usually referred from the Joint Health and Safety Committee, saying, you know, here's something, we have a committee that's an expertise in this, let's slide it over to the ergonomics change team. And we don't have a specific budget. One of the things, we have a safety budget overall, and that gives us the flexibility to spend more money or less money depending on the budget year. It's all part of one overall encompassing budget for purchasing of training or purchasing of equipment, and we kind of tally that up at the end of the year. We'll say, okay, well, do we have money? Is there something that we've got on our list that we would like to do? Or at the beginning of the year when we have lots of money, is there something that we were putting off because of that?
I think you skipped one.
Did I?
Oh, sorry. It should be this one.
Nope.
I think I'd order.
No, I'm still up. That's what's going on. Okay, so ECT leadership, diversity within its members and having senior staff allows for change, allows for support for change, allows for the approval of the dollars that we need in order to do the tasks that we set out. Word of mouth is very important. It's a good part of learning. We've had almost, I would say, maybe even more people retire from the committee that have had the full training that are now dispersed among the people. Certainly a lot of people who have had had interventions, who've had them benefit them personally, reduced pain, swelling issues completely resolved. Some of that is self-help, as in we give them the tools and they look after themselves. Shameless promotion of things we do. We have the sticker, we'll stick it on different things, different items we've worked on. Tools, training, we provide training. We'll include our logo on there. Ergo moments of success in safety meetings, so we try in every safety meeting to highlight one thing we've done and have the logo up there. People tune into it, they say, okay, he's talking about ergonomics because I got to see the logo. Items on our, we have now KW Hydro internal TV, so we have items pop up that refresh and go back to perhaps a training program. Posters around the room, around the building, and the logo stuck on that. So you look at the poster, you know we're talking about ergonomics. Upon initiating the ECT program, we brought in a ringer. We had a person, I knew a safety person within the area who was the manager of the only surviving ergonomics change team from the initial pilot project. And so we brought them in and got the practical scoop on what worked and what didn't work for them. And what I remember the manager saying was that the group had almost imploded. And what they did was simplify, 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 make things easier. So we stole some forms from them, say basic ideas, changed them to fit us. And I think if you've got a smaller or a medium-sized company, it has to be simple or else it's not going to work. So I would say our team members are key to a success. Like I mentioned, everyone is a volunteer. Nobody is there because they need to be, and that would include myself. I really enjoy going to this group. In fact, I would say it's refreshing. You go to this committee and you say, well, that's how a committee should work. Members take the initiative to suggest and work on improvements. Time is approved by management and arranged through supervisor. And initially, I would say we had I want to say old school supervisors who were resistant to this, but now people see the value. We have buy-in. We have, like I said, we have one of the line supervisors there, and happy to assign people to do work on ergonomics projects. Who knows the item better than the people working with it? And who will workers more likely talk to? The coworker or the supervisor or the manager? And we talked about psychosocial issues earlier. Can you see the value and the benefit of saying, okay, I made a suggestion, I saw it come to life, or I actually made it come to life? Communication and promoting throughout, we talked about, inspires employees to observe one another and intervene when necessary for the safety of employees. It's done through training. We've done training and then retraining and then retraining, because we've been doing this since 2005. And when we do training, we often see a spike in reporting. One of the last office groups that we did, we had 3 people report and 3 people who had the skills to fix it themselves. And I had one person who I would say was on the verge of actually going off on a medical claim because they had a goose egg on the side of their arm that was inflamed, and they were mousing completely wrong. A whole bunch of different efforts to make a change on that. Done through observation, employees lifting, another person saying, hey, can I give you a hand, or you're not doing that right. Reported in any manner. It's one of the things that we said we want to hear about it. So unless, even though you might not tell your supervisor first, you might tell us, you might go through one of our other reporting processes. And so ergonomics get reported in a timely manner, but we want to keep the supervisor in the loop, so we have to let the supervisor know. And we also have a program that was pre-existing, which is referral to physio or chiropractic services. So our goal, and everybody learns this upon orientation of coming in the company, is you worked out today, you did a good day's work, you've got an ache. Your muscles are sore and stiff, that's normal. If you're at the point, if you haven't had proper rest in between and now you have pain, that's the indicator that there's something wrong and you either need the rest or you need an intervention. So before it actually gets to an injury, we will send you to go to a physiotherapist or to a chiropractor, depending on massage therapy, anything, to help stop that from becoming an injury, even though you have some symptoms already.
George, I'm giving you the 5 minutes.
Okay.
Talk fast.
Tools for change. Our ECT always has report forms that employees can get from an ECT member. There are also ET suggestion box around the building, which employees can put suggestions in. We also have 1-minute surveys are used to evaluate any changes we made, which is just a piece of paper with a few simple questions that people can answer if we got a new tool, if they liked it or not, or what needs to be changed. We have a list for truck development, checklist for large and small vehicles, just so we can keep organized and remember stuff when we're ordering new vehicles.
Okay, implementing change. This is something that came through the ergonomic change team. We had a stretching program started up, which honestly, when I first heard about it, seemed kind of hokey. But they brought in a couple students from the University of Waterloo, and they basically measured your range of motion and basically how flexible you are. So then you did it, I think it was about 3 months that you went through these stretches every morning. It was only 10 minutes long. And then the students came back and measured you to see if you became more flexible. And every single person improved on their flexibility. And I know personally, just that 10 minutes of stretching in the morning, like your little aches and pains that you've had for so long, you got used to them, they seem to go away as long as you did your stretching in the morning. And also, it's the stretching program, it's just open to whoever wants to do it. It's not mandatory. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't, you don't, which I think is the way to implement something like that. You can't force people to do something like that. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. But at the same time, all the guys that do it are very vocal and promote saying, if a guy has an ache or a pain, say, why wouldn't you not stretch in the morning? It'll clear it up. So then we got into a few different other things. As far as, this was Carrie Boyle from IHSA came in. We had her do a couple case studies, and this was just moving a house service from a pole. The two things we were hoping to get out of this was to change the ordering process for our bucket trucks. There's just an option that the bucket rotates around. The person that orders the trucks didn't necessarily see it as a big issue, but for the guys that are working, it is a big thing. So this basically put numbers to what the forces were on your back, and it also informed guys that a lot of the stuff we were doing wasn't even close to like a threshold that you should be working under. Like it's right off the chart on some of them. And the size of wire she did her calculations with is our smallest size of wire. We have stuff that would be 3 or 4 times heavier than that. And I think putting a number to it for guys in the field that really makes you understand everything we do is rated for something. Every transformer, there's a weight to it. The truck is rated to lift this much, so this just kind of gives you a rating for your back on what's acceptable and what you can do and expect to have an injury if you get outside of it. Let's get down to this. So this is in our metering shop. The picture on the left is the way the wire used to be. It was just on the wall, and it was one of those things, why is it there? Well, that's where it's always been. When they went to pull all their wire off, they would need 2 people because you'd be running into the wall pulling it off. So they got this stand, and they can just wheel out wherever they want, pull it off, no problem. It makes it so much easier for them.
So pay it back. Whenever we have a training or an investigation like the one that you just saw, and it's specific to our industry, maybe make sure that we use IHSA, because then they can share it with other hydros. We use local ergonomists for things that are general, as in lifting tips. We had tailored times. We have one of our qualified people that come in. We hire out a lot of the stuff because of being a smaller organization. And I would say that there's definitely a benefit to pay a little more and have them customize it to your staff, to have them come in and look at your people and your issues. We also introduced a program to encourage people to go to gyms. There's a percentage payback with $1. So reinvesting money saved through improved costs reduction in injuries and costs, and putting that back into helping people stay conditioned, which also improves in recovery if we do have an injury. Involvement here today, pay back, and steal with pride. So we're here to get some more stuff back from you. Annual attendance to a presentation that we have at IHSA, an ergonomics symposium. Ergonomics change teams in our industry get together every year. Many other ECTs in our business learn from the challenges from others. So by talking to other teams, they can say, we tried this, it didn't work, and then we tried this and this did, skipping an item or a bump in the road for us. Also paying forward by publishing articles in magazines, etc. Online training, one of the issues that we've always been concerned about with is if we had a room of employees like this, and that table was sick, and that table was on vacation, they missed the training. So we are videotaping training whenever we can, or putting the presentation into a PowerPoint that is readable by the person after they come back, and then we go through our software training system. And so whether they're there at that point or we have a new hire, they also learn the same material. And thanks for listening and for sharing. Included at the end there is a sample of one of the presentations that we did at an ergonomics change team symposium. We're not going to cover those, but you can look through them.
Thank you very much.